Now, there is no doubt about it that we are beginning to see multiple Hollywood celebrities, whether it's actors, actresses, comedians, producers, writers, directors, doesn't matter. They are beginning to come out of the woodwork to really go into full-on damage control mode over the recent criticisms surrounding both Bill and Hillary Clinton, and how they deleted and disabled various comments related to Jeffrey Epstein on multiple social media platforms, mainly on X/Twitter. And what's going on here, though, has a lot more to do with George Clooney's overall take. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, one thing about George Clooney that we all know about is how he got very political back in the tail end of 2024 by making those political commercials with Julia Roberts and really doubling down on all of that, and how he and Julia actually promoted to actually lie to your husband or wife on who you voted for, literally in the actual commercial. That was the overall format of the commercial that was televised across the entire nation in front of millions upon millions of people. And what's interesting here, though, has a lot more to do with the fact that you have celebrities like Bill Clinton, Tom Hanks, Robert De Niro, Jane Fonda, and more really just going into damage control mode over the criticism surrounding Bill Clinton. Now, let's get into this. Now, one thing about George Clooney is that we all know that this is exactly why a lot of people have actually shifted away from people like Robert De Niro and George Clooney, is that they got way too political when it comes to their acting career, when it comes to their overall, career in the film industry, and how that really is just in a downward spiral right now. And also why some studios want nothing to do with them. However, with many Hollywood actors and those in show business deciding to double down on their anti-Trump agenda that is driving away their audience at a rapid rate, one major development going on now involves more to do with actor George Clooney and what he had to say about the recent criticisms surrounding Bill Clinton after he deleted and disabled Epstein-related comments, and how Hillary Clinton did the exact thing at the same time after the GOP asked them in for questioning over the Epstein files. Now, Clooney delivered the following as an obvious attempt at damage control. "Look, I think Bill Clinton is a responsible and well-managed man," he says, "who served our country well. It would be crazy for me to believe that there was any wrongdoing with him. And look, as I got older, yes, I did get less angry, I must admit, especially when it involves politics. But what really irks me and really rubs me the wrong way is when you have those that like to call themselves MAGA. Well, let's just say they are making some bold claims right now about Mr. Clinton that doesn't sit well with me at all. And I think everyone needs to silence themselves and stop it with the inflammatory takes and comments and take a step back of one of the greatest presidents of our time that changed the world. I mean, he was the icon of the 90s, man. And Hillary was as well, and still is an icon to this day. And all I have to say about Epstein is that there is an obsession, an unhealthy obsession with the Epstein subject, and it's flat out irresponsible to go dragging in people's names in relation to that man. Especially Bill Clinton, it's just not right. And I hope the American people will decide to stop buying into everything that they hear. Both Bill and Hillary are one of the most responsible politicians on this planet. They have given so much to our country that we ought to thank them for that. And so it's very bad behavior, unhealthy behavior, coming from MAGA and Trump to go tying Bill's name with Epstein and other controversial figures. Just see nothing here. I see nothing there at all. No case at all. And I'm sure all will be said in due time, but I have no worries. But I'm asking everyone to quiet down the noise now, tone it down immediately, because you are doing more harm than good to this country and to its people, and quite frankly how other countries perceive us under this new administration and who supports Trump. I think many people need to improve themselves on how they handle their emotions with politics and political figures, for sure. There needs to be some work done there. Just stop making bold claims of Bill and Hillary. This day and age of social media, it's not benefiting politicians like Bill and Hillary when they are criticized of doing every little thing, when they leave a little digital footprint. Now guys, let me say one thing about George Clooney there. Now, obviously, he is heavily defending both Bill and Hillary, and look, we know that there's a lot of actors out there that obviously are going to defend them no matter what. And it seems like the whole Epstein criticism is not stopping them. And I think that's also very revealing. Now, In the coming weeks, you're going to see a lot more suspicious behavior coming from, I think, Bill Clinton's social media activity and a lot of other actors that are falling into damage control mode right now over both Bill and Hillary, dealing with a lot of criticism from the general public. I mean, heck, even a lot of Democrats out there are really beginning to actually raise an eyebrow and scratch their heads right now as to exactly why both Bill and Hillary disabled their comments at the exact moment that the GOP was asking them in for questioning over Epstein and the Epstein files. So, the thing about George Clooney is that in 2024, he lost tons of support, and we all know why. As I mentioned before earlier in this video, he lost millions upon millions of fans, and he lost a lot of work from various studios after he did those politically motivated commercials, right, about Trump and how, he wanted to promote basically that it's okay to lie to your wife or your husband about who you voted for, and you could do that right now. That's basically what the whole commercial was all about. And so here you have George Clooney again now in 2025. Not only did he comment on Charlie Kirk before in the past, but he's also now commenting on the Bill Clinton criticism and everything else going on with the whole Epstein subject that's now at large in the mainstream media. He continues to actually go on and concludes, "These are fine people, very respectful individuals that are going to cooperate with the GOP, I'm sure, and they are going to do what needs to be done to set the record straight. But I have zero worries about them. Absolutely no worries at all. I don't think the critics know exactly what they're talking about." So that's what he has to say about that. Now, I think, obviously, when you have a lot of actors grouping together and heavily defending the Clintons and, just going into full-on damage control mode, it speaks volumes. It tells us that there's something really going on, I think. We really can't say for sure, but there's definitely something going on there for sure when it comes to the actors in isolation defending Bill and Hillary Clinton excessively. And look, whether or not they're all involved in something to do with the whole Epstein case, that's another big question open on the table for discussion. But we know one thing about all of this is that when you have people like George Clooney, Robert De Niro, Jane Fonda, Julia Roberts, and just so many out there to name, that continue to actually just double down on really just pointing the finger at MAGA and Trump for either bullying or, actually how they are calling out Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and how they label that as bullying, I think is a very weak argument, a very poor argument at that. And that's exactly what George, Robert De Niro, and more out there are doing right now. Now, we know one thing about this for sure is that this is all going to backfire in the end. If this whole Epstein subject really goes in the wrong direction for them, for sure, I think it's really going to be a very bad image for them in the coming days, weeks, maybe even months at this point. We'll have to wait and see how long it's going to take until the whole Epstein subject really opens up fully. But overall, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys later.